All right, SKFL, we've got 2 weeks in the books. Who's on top of the power rankings? You guys know who it is. We've got Ian Shafer here today, giving his power rankings. We'll have a weekly segment with one of you to do that. We are talking Mr. Playoffs, Nick's first appearance of the year, and a little special song for Carlos. Cockford. Cockford. Los, we kicked your ass this week. How did that feel? We're gonna do it again, week 12, and it will be even worse. AJ, pull down your pants. It's your turn this week. It won't be close. It won't be close. 2 weeks in the books. Mr. Playoffs is back. All right, sports fans, let's take a look and see where we're at as we sit today. Ron Dick Revival, number 1 seed, 2-0, 611 points, averaging more than 300 per week, on fire. Then the 2 seed, Cockford, 101, 578 on the backs of 2 very solid outings. And then it gets a little bit dicey or tricky or close. You've got, I would love to see 3 Carl Division people on the same side of the bracket come January. Actually, would love to see 1, but we got 3 here bunched up. Only 1 of them advanced to the finals. Good scenario for the rest of the league. And at the bottom of the bracket, we got Victoria's Secrets, Kenny, off to a very strong start. And then Wade, 2 from the Knox. You'll see here coming with the pot of the Ian. The Knox did not fare well, but look, they've got 2 in the playoffs. I implore the Pinella division. We can be better than this. We need to be better than this. We will be better than this. All right, guys. That's Mr. Playoffs week 2. I hope you enjoy the podcast with Ian, and we'll talk soon. Well, here we are, week 2 in the books. Sorry, I got to make sure we're plugged in here. And I've got a very special guest today. Someone who, the only man in America who not only benched CMC this week probably, but won handily despite doing it. This is the Ian Shafer we know. He's a cocky SOB. I think he just did that on purpose just to rub it in Casey's face. So we're here to talk to Ian about the reasons.
Let's not bury the lead. I also beat Aaron Jones.
That's right. You're the only guy who jumped at CMC and beat Aaron Jones this week. So kudos to you, sir. That just shows the depth and strength of your team. And I would put you at number 1 on my power rankings just for that simple fact. I think everybody else in the league would as well. So, don't have to spend a lot of time in, but take me through kind of the story. Like at what point last week did you think, man, I may start Trey Sermon over CMC? Like, talk me through it, because it should be an ESPN documentary about this.
Okay, there should be, but it is not that interesting of a story. But this did start 3 years ago in 2018, week 3. Mm-hmm. 2018, week 3. I'm sitting in my couch in Zurich, and the games start. And immediately at 7 p.m. there, I get a text from Casey, and he's like, oh my gosh, you started, I forget who I even started. It was like Corey Grant or something over CMC. Thanks, Cora.
I told you this is going to be a good one.
Yeah. So what had happened, what had happened was, I was just messing around with my lineup, and sometimes you'll put someone in your lineup and say, okay, what does it feel like to start this guy and you'll submit? Somehow I fat fingered it and took CMC out of my lineup. I mean, I don't know. I honestly have no idea how that happened. Okay. So I end up playing that game. I lose to Casey by I think like 4 or 5 points. With CMC on my bench, he gives me 40 points. Had I just started James White, I would have won that one. So I'm pissed. Like, you don't know the feeling of sitting CMC. Like, it is a sinking feeling in your stomach when you when you spend as much time preparing as I do, and then you make a jackass mistake like that. It sucks. So now, whenever I play Casey now, I just fuck around a little bit, and I'll take CMC out of my lineup, right? Just because I know he's always tracking who's starting against him, so he sees all this stuff. So that's what happened this week. Always when I'm going to play Casey, especially in the first first go round in the year, it's the CMC non-start bowl, right? Like in our chat, I always bring it up. I'm like, hey, this is the anniversary. We're doing it again.
There's no way that's it.
Yeah, it is it.
That's it.
So yes, that's it, man.
You're just clowning him.
Yeah, well, so I took him out of my lineup, and then this week what happened was, I took him out, and then I meant to put him back in. It's my first week watching football at home. I was in the garage week 1, so I'm getting everything set up. In the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, gotta check my lineup. I was gonna go Pollard and CMC. Gotta take Sermon out. So anyway, I got all the way to the point of bringing up the submit lineup page, and just didn't click the submit button. So, and actually, but to Casey's credit, he's the one who kind of did it for me, because I did actually want to pick up Sammy Watkins. Casey had already picked him up. That kind of threw me off into some more research. And so, Casey gets a little bit of credit here. But the story is not interesting. This was not done on purpose. This is not a conspiracy. This is just Ian fucking around.
You did do it on, well, I thought for sure if you would have put that, like, okay, you listen to a podcast on Tuesday, people were like, well, the Panthers, they shut down, Kamara. Actually, that was this week.
If they're playing Tampa Bay, then I could see some rationalization, but no, you don't take CMC out. So right after the game started, actually, I think Jeff and Casey, they might have thought I did this on purpose this time. Because
I did too. I saw the logic. Like Sermon, you're playing musical running backs over there in San Francisco. Pollard obviously paid off for you, so it almost actually made sense in kind of a roundabout way. I
wish I had played it like I had done it on purpose, but no. Like I hope Musa does his little investigation here. Like, here you go, Musa. Here's source material. This will solve your investigation.
Wow. Well, I was waiting for some kind of deep dive about the pod, and you listen to, Andy Behrens or, any of these guys out there that they're doing stuff, Field Yates, and it's nothing like that at all. I'm a little bit disappointed.
It is. I do find it fascinating. I have psychoanalyzed myself. How in the world can you not start the best player in fantasy twice in the span of 3 years? I have no idea. I mean, I don't know, man. This goes back to kind of my mulligan idea. Like, if somebody accidentally drops, say you drop like Josh Allen or something, right? You obviously never want to do that. We should have a mulligan there. I don't think I should get a mulligan on on not starting CMC, but it's kind of on the first time maybe, but I don't know. It's tough. By the way, when I lost to Casey that first time, it haunted me. until I won the championship that year. It haunted me, because if that had cost me like a bye in the playoffs or something, that would have been too much.
Would have been a long off season.
It would have been a long off season. And the fact that I won this time, like, I am so happy because I don't have that mental anguish now. And like, honestly, every like 5 minutes, I'm like, thank the universe that I don't have to deal with a stupid loss again. So,
well, here's I'm gonna tell you right now. You feel free to not start CMC when you play Rockford here in a few weeks. So just no problem at all. Just leave him on the bench. Forget about him. Go have
I will say,
kids and family.
I do have questions about a franchise who can't beat a team who sits the best player in fantasy. I mean, that's just showing some chinks in Casey's armor.
We all have concerns about Casey and his franchise at this point right now. It's the ship has sunk to a certain level. He's concerned he can't get back there. I think we all are happy that he's not also.
when you got Baker as a quarterback and you're sticking with him, that's just trouble.
So yeah, Tyrod going down is very thin at quarterback. I guess you could just start one guy and be fine. That guy's pretty good. All righty, and let's transition to your power rankings. The top 12 teams of the SKFL. I'm going to share my screen here, and so we can see the league page. Like we kind of bounce around there.
Nice. So what
I'm sliding down to the computer rankings, which are pretty good, but obviously I don't think anybody thinks the league. I'm the best team in the league right now. So why don't you break it down for us? Who's talking about your top? We go from top to bottom or bottom to top?
Let's go bottom to top, and I'll tell you the method that I used here.
Okay.
I basically went through and ranked from 1 to 5 each of the teams: quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
With that ranking, I just added it up and then did then sorted. So here's that's the method. Now here is the ranks coming in at the bottom. Talk about a fall from grace. AJ and Yusuf.
Yeah.
So both AJ and Yusuf, they are they come up with 9 and 10 points for me. AJ has completely punted tight end. Is having some trouble at quarterback as well. So surprisingly, this is the amazing thing about fantasy to me. How can a team look so good and then the games start and then it just falls apart? So
yeah, that's 6 in 38 all play between those two.
Ooh,
that's and we call that the Rockford from about 4 or 5 years ago.
And Yusuf, I mean, he was great for 4 or 5 years there. A little worried about him now. We'll see where it goes. He's had some good memes in the chat though, so that's good. Coming in next in the this would be the what is this?
Number
10-9 spots.
10-9 spots.
Yep. Brothers, Wade and Blake.
Yeah.
They tied in my rankings, both with 11 points. I gave Wade the older brother advantage. Let's see. So, Blake's quarterbacks are great. He also punted on tight end. Who is this? Pharaoh Brown, who he's starting at tight end? I'm not sure what's going on there.
This guy here is dead.
Yeah. And then, Wade started off hot, obviously had the high score last week, but quarterback's not looking great. Running backs, shaky. So not a ton to go on there. But, maybe Blake, you've probably been getting a lot of advice from Wade. Maybe talk to somebody else and see if you can kind of move up the rankings here.
Shots fired. Here we
Love
go.
You, Wade.
Okay, we're at number 8, 7-8.
Yep, 7-8. These are all also tied here. Musa and Randy come in next. So Musa obviously solid at tight ends. I think that's going to play out just fine for him.
Yep.
But then wide receivers. Yeah, slow start for Kittle. Come on, we can talk San Francisco all day here, man.
Yep.
What's going on there?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, he should be just fine. But his running backs and tight ends, not so great. So that's kind of hurting him. And Randy, his wide receivers are pretty good. Quarterback, big questions there with, love hurts, but Goff, come on, Goff is who we thought he was, man.
Tough second half for Mr. Goff last night.
You were a Goff owner in the heyday. I remember Goff.
I sold high on Goff. It's the only thing I've ever sold high on in my life is Goff, and I just got out of him early before he was unbelievable for a couple of years, but that shine wore off quick.
Yep. After this, now we're in the top half. So in the next tier here, we have Kinney and Los.
So 5-6.
Kinney
and Los.
The surprise geriatric team. He's making this work somehow. Where is he on my? Yeah, his running backs, are solid. With Derrick Henry, everyone keeps waiting for the wheels to fall off Derrick Henry. It's going to happen someday, but it wasn't last week. He was pretty incredible. But Kinney, and he's solid across all position groups. So, you know,
Well,
he's got a
hold
solid
on.
team there.
Quarterback, are we sure?
Wait, who? What?
Kenny's quarterbacks? Are we sure that's so?
Quarterback? Well, I like Justin Fields, man. I think Justin Fields is going
right.
to carry him, and he's got the
You're
job
the
now. So, yeah. So that gave him a bump there. And then Los, Los is solid at quarterback, obviously.
All right.
And then, you know, I like his wide receivers as well. I also like his name, Los. Shout out the narcissist. Is there a story behind that name, or is it just that?
Los, let's get on the pod tomorrow. We'll do a week 3 preview. You tell us about the origins of your name. I'll text you tomorrow.
Totally. Okay, and then after this, we've got 2 more brothers, Casey and Jeff. Both these squads are very solid. I mean, we know squads coming, except for Yusuf, coming out of the Carl are all going to be pretty good. Casey, you know, Kyler Murray is helping him out at quarterback. I kind of ripped on Baker a little bit, but he'll be a fine QB2. And then he's got some depth at running back. And his tight ends are actually pretty solid. You know, Cook is in a good offense.
Yep.
Jonnu, you know, we'll see. Mac Jones looks like a player, and so he should be able to do good there. And then Jeff, my opponent this week, you know, running backs are solid. You're always scared of his running backs. It's Antonio Gibson has been a drag, and you know, his season could hinge on will Antonio Gibson take over some more of that passing down role that McKissick has locked up. So.
Yeah, that's the tough spot early is McKissick's catching a ton of balls early and is playing all the garbage time snaps and all the third down snaps.
Well, and not just garbage time. I mean, he won him that game, or he won him the game, didn't he? On was it Thursday night?
I mean, you could say he did because he was awesome out there.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter. So. It's weird when you got a college wide receiver not doing that, but at some point you just have to admit that it's not going to be a role that he's going to be playing on this team. So
yeah, I mean he can't play every snap. I mean that's what they're just doing with backs, and that's why backs should be valued in the SKFL. Very few, the exception of the Derrick Henrys, are getting major. I mean, you look at the snap counts. Every team across the league, it's 60-40, 55-45. There's a lot of that.
Yep. I mean that we talked about that actually on the last pod I was on, where the 17-game schedule I think is going to change this. Even CMC's snap count and carry percentages are down, which I'm very happy about. I mean, the guy gets enough points. You know, I want him to make it through the whole season this year. Yep. So you kind of want that. And Tony Pollard's also a good example of you know, that kind of this backup running back who could be a viable starter each week even. So
sure. Top 2, I think we know where we're going here.
Well, I don't rank myself. I'll leave that up to the audience to put me wherever they want. You got the
most points, you got the best all play, you got superhuman quarter, you got the 3 best, you got 3 guys better than anybody I got. So you're putting me at 1, buddy.
In all honesty, I didn't rank myself number 1. When I did it, I have you number 1, Rob. I think, you know, your tight ends are Kelsey's a stud, and he's continuing what he was doing last year. Kyle Pitts is gonna break out. I mean, all the peripheral numbers are there. The guy just looks incredible. It's gonna happen. Hopefully, it doesn't take too long, but I think he's gonna be incredible.
2 tough front fours for Matt Ryan the first 2 weeks. Hopefully he gets a little more time the coming weeks and let Pitts do his thing and go.
Yeah. Have you been? I haven't watched much of Atlanta. Have you watched much of them?
Yeah, for the Pitts factor. So they were awful week 1. Week 2 they were okay. They were down 4, starting 4th, and then Ryan kind of shit his pants and threw a couple interceptions, and that hurt. So. I kind of like them still. I think that's crazy to say. I think Philly and Tampa Bay are pretty good. So, you know, we'll see this week at the Giants. If they lay another egg, if they lose 24-6 or something like that, it's panic time on the Ryan Pitts wagon. But there is no quality backup in it's either Josh Rosen or Philip Franks as the backups in Atlanta. So I don't think they want to go to those guys anytime soon.
No. I was kind of shocked when they drafted Pitts. I mean, I like the pick, but they should have gone quarterback. I don't know what they were doing. I think that was a bad idea.
Because Ryan is obviously on the downside of things, and probably what has been for about 2.5, 3 years. I still think he's going to have a quality year and put up, 35 average. But he's been very average, to be kind to him the first 2 weeks.
Yep. Yeah, so I actually, Rob, you had 15 points, which was higher than I gave anybody else. So
okay, well,
it's yours to lose now, my friend.
Well, okay, well, we'll take that with a grain of salt and move on to your division rankings. And this is a joke because we know what you're going to say. And I'll give my division rankings right now, and I think the Carl so far through 2 weeks. I think this will change over the course. But Pinella had a great first week. The Carl had a great second week. So I think it's going to be back and forth. We know who the bottom division is. Sorry, Knox, but that's just kind of where it is right now.
Yeah. Knox is, I mean, they're on the verge of being relegated, man. We need to, have some relegation system. So I basically just took these numbers that I was talking about and added them up for each division. And
let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I actually have Pinella and Carl tied with 50 points each, and I'm gonna blame this on Yusuf. He's dragging down the entire Carl right now with his 9 points.
If he's 0-6, is he making an automatic nomination to the Knox? I mean, how does he? What happens? You just switch in stock in the Knox?
I don't know. I love Yusuf, so I want him to stay in the Carl, but he's got to step up his game here.
We all love Yusuf. We kid because we care.
Yeah. So Pinella and Carl tied right now, both at 50, and then Knox came in 3 points below that with 47. So we've got, Pinella has a chance here. They're scrapping, trying to make a name for themselves. We'll see what happens.
We got to have more than. We got to have more than one team break 200. That's not a good look for the Pinella. I mean, look at this.
It was.
Come 161 last week, Capper. So shit. I mean, come on, man.
That game was kind of a joke. So we'll give you a mulligan on that one. It'll be fun when interdivision play starts and we can start looking at the records. That's when the shit talk starts and Carl starts just stomping on people. So I'm looking forward to that.
All right, man. Well, anything else before we let you back to your family and I have some dinner?
I've added some more alarms to my phone so I can be sure to start the right players.
Checks and balances.
Let me make a bold call here. Offensive player of the year, offensive rookie player of the year, Rondale Moore. I mean, come on. That guy's amazing. He's barely playing. But he's leading the team in targets and making some big plays. He's also what you got to understand in fantasy, you want the outliers, man. You don't just want the good players. You want the players who are different. That's why Kyle Pitts is great. That guy is different than everybody else. Mahomes is different. Lamar Jackson's different. Rondale is different. Like, he's fast. He could be a better, like, he's not a running back, but a better type of Darren Sproles. So I'm excited about it.
So I watched a ton. I've met Rondale Moore. I got a signed autograph Purdue helmet Rondale Moore.
Are you kidding?
No, Cassidy worked at Purdue. We know Rondale Moore. And so I have a little bit of inside information. Look for him to get hurt multiple times this year. That's my prediction. Rondale Moore will not play 17 games. He'll be in the 10 to 11 mark. But maybe that was just college Moore trying to protect the body and I got a little damn it, my knee. We'll see. But he's talented as hell. What's that?
Is he worse than Deontay Johnson though?
No, nobody is. I think your Sproles call is actually pretty curious because of the size. He's a short dude. He's like Nate Robinson. He's a tiny guy. But those legs, those tree trunk legs, it's just tough to bring him down. And you could run him out of the backfield. He could play running back. He did that at Purdue. A lot of jet sweeps. if they can find a way to basically leverage Hopkins to get him and Kirk those wide open looks, I mean, I don't have a lot of faith in Kingsbury to make any adjustments once the NFL makes adjustments to that, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Also, one more plug. Watch Bo Burnham's Inside.
Watch what?
Bo Burnham Inside. It's on Netflix.
Is it a movie or a series?
It is. It's kind of a comedy special.
Comedy special.
Highly recommend. I enjoyed it.
All right. Well, that's coming straight from the #1 team in the SKFL right now, Bill Burnham's Inside.
I actually had myself, I think, #4. So I got some work to do, man.
You got some arrogance to you, man. It's not starting CMC. I'm 4. Give me a break. Get the hell out of here. All right, we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you soon, baby.
All right, man. Take it easy, Rob.